those knees tucked in a little bit. Perfect. Get nice and tall, nice and tall. Don't let me touch you, don't let me touch you. Bring those arms back. Don't let me touch you over here. Don't let me touch you, don't let me touch you. Arms up, arms up, arms up. Up with the palms, up with the palms. Keep the chin tucked in, up with the crown of the head. Don't let those knees cave in, knees together. Perfect. Palms up, palms up, palms. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with TV4, and today Kat and I are going to be demonstrating the top 5 exercises to help with your shoulder pain and also help to improve your posture. With regard to shoulder pain, a lot of reasons why people get shoulder pain is because of the type of lifestyle that we live. A lot of people are constantly in excessive flexion of the thoracic spine from being at a desk, driving at their car, being on their phones all day. So what happens when people are in excessive flexion is you're going to develop hyperkyphosis of your thoracic spine. And in my practice, a lot of patients that come to me, typically what I see is a lot of patients will present with hyperkyphosis in the upper thoracic spine, and then the lower thoracic spine, they're going to have hypokyphosis. So they have excessive curvature in the upper thoracic spine, and then the lower thoracic spine, they're going to have not enough curvature. So these exercises right over here are going to be really good at helping to strengthen the thoracic extensors and help to neutralize the curve in the actual spine. With regard to the exercise, the first exercise we're going to be demonstrating is the horizontal thoracic foam roller mobilization. For this one right over here, I'm going to have Kat lay down on her back. What you would want to do is grab a foam roller. So you can just lay down on your back, with your back at that end over there, feet over there. And we are going to place the foam roller right at her thoracic spine. And because most people tend to present with hyperkyphosis in the upper thoracic spine, when we are performing this mobilization, we want to make sure that we are targeting the segments that are hypermobile. So we wouldn't want to do the entire thoracic spine, just the areas that are hypermobile. And what we're going to do is once we determine which actual segments of the spine are hypermobile, we would start at the very base of the spinal column, and then we would move up one vertebrae at a time until we made it all the way up to the C7T1. Now typically between C7T1 and all the way to about T6, T7, T7, T8, that's where most people are going to be hyperkyphotic. So what we would want to do, I'm just going to roll this a little bit lower. Kat's going to lay down on it. What we want to do, first of all, you're going to be laying in a supine position, so on your back. With your arms, you want to bring your arms by your head, but you're not going to be pulling on your head because that's going to create a lot of tension on the back of the neck and can lead to a lot of neck issues. So you just want to place your hands by your sides just to support your head, but you're not actually going to pull. Then from this position right over here, what Kat is going to do is she's going to inhale as she extends her spine over the foam roller. When she's extending, one thing that's very, very important is you want all of the extension coming from the thoracic spine. So if you notice that the lumbar spine starts to go into extension, then it's no longer a thoracic mobilization. Then you start stretching all the musculature in the abdominal region, and you're getting more of the movement coming from the lumbar spine. So you want to make sure that your lumbar spine remains as neutral as possible while you extend the thoracic spine over the foam roller. And then she would just exhale as she comes back to the start. What you would want to do is roughly 3 repetitions at each segment of the spine. And with regard to this one right over here, you want to do it at a breathing pace. So a nice 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, or whatever your natural breathing rhythm is. You don't want to go really, really fast. You don't want to go super slow. Just go according to your body's natural breath and your natural rhythm. So I'm just going to have her again. She's going to take a nice deep breath in as she extends over the foam roller. And she's going to go as far as she can naturally without forcing it. Once she can no longer go any farther, what she's going to do is let out a big exhale, and then when she lets out a big exhale, she is going to extend naturally a little bit farther just from her body being able to go a little bit deeper. So she doesn't want to force it, she's just going to do it naturally. So one time you're going to come back to the start. Inhale, extend over the foam roller. And then once you can't go any farther, you're going to exhale and try and allow yourself to drop a little bit farther into extension. Once you've completed 3 repetitions at that segment, then what you would do, Kat would come up a little bit, we would move the foam roller up 1 more vertebrae, and then she would repeat that process until she made it all the way to the top of the thoracic spine. Typically, when it comes to the thoracic spine, the vertebrae are going to be roughly 1 inch apart. So if you're not really sure how to feel where exactly the vertebrae are, just think of moving the foam roller 1 inch, and that will roughly be the length of each single vertebrae. So if you're trying to target 6 different vertebrae, it's going to be roughly 6 inches from the top of the spine all the way to your T6, T7 area. But that is it for the horizontal foam roller for the thoracic spine, for the mobilization. The second exercise for your shoulder pain is going to be the segmental strengthening and reinforcement for the rhomboid major. So for this one, I'm going to have Kat lay down on her stomach. One of the reasons why we are doing this exercise is because, again, if you are constantly in this pronated posture and you are in excessive flexion and frontalization of the scapula, your scapula is going to start to spread apart, and that's going to place the rhomboid major under a lot of tension. And a lot of people are going to mistake this. They think they need to stretch the rhomboids, but really they need to strengthen them. So by doing this exercise right over here, this is going to help to pull the rhomboids, pull the scapula back toward the center of the spine and bring it into more of a neutral position and alleviate some of the symptoms of shoulder pain. For this exercise right over here, you're lying down on your stomach. You want to pin your chin to the floor, and then your arms, you are going to bring them out to the sides. You want to get your humerus, which is your upper arm bone, at the level of the glenohumeral angle. So for that, what you want to do is place one arm on the scapula, and then you're going to gently raise it. As soon as you notice that when you raise the humerus, the scapula kind of gets stuck and moves with it, that's going to be your glenohumeral angle. So for Kat, this is the level right over here. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but what you can do, if you're not really sure where it is and you don't have a partner that could kind of play around with your arm and figure out the angle, it's going to be roughly at the level of your forehead or slightly higher. From this position right over here, what Kat is going to do is she's going to, imagine there's a pencil between her shoulder blades, she's going to raise her arms as high as possible off the ground while squeezing her shoulder blades together. So by doing this, what we are doing is retracting the scapula, which is the action of the rhomboid major. So she's just going to raise her hands as high as she can while simultaneously trying to squeeze her shoulder blades together and then go back down to the ground. And this is the segmental strengthening and reinforcement exercise for the rhomboid major. The next exercise is going to be the segmental strengthening and reinforcement for the inferior trapezius muscle. This is going to be the exact same positioning in terms of the starting point where Kat's going to be laying down on her stomach. And the reason why this exercise is really good is because a lot of people hold a lot of tension in their upper trapezius, and their inferior trapezius is going to be very, very inactive, and a lot of people, it's going to be very, very weak. So we want to be able to strengthen this muscle. So same position, Kat's going to have her chin on the ground. Her arms for this one are going to be by her side with the palms facing the ceiling, both arms. And then what you are going to do for this exercise is you want to retract your shoulder blades and depress your shoulder blades. So imagine that you are trying to bring your hands into your opposite pockets. So Kat is just going to raise her arms, keeping the elbows straight, and drive her hands toward the opposite pocket. You don't have to actually bring your arms into the opposite pocket, but you want to have the intention of bringing them into that direction. So just imagine another thing that you can think of is bringing the inferior angle of your scapula, so the bottom portion of the scapula, into the opposite glute. And this is the segmental strengthening and reinforcement for the inferior trapezius muscle. Next, exercise number 4, this is going to be the myofascial stretching of the pectoralis major. For the myofascial stretching of the pectoralis major, we're going to be targeting specifically the superficial fibers of the pectoralis major. The main difference is going to be with what we do with the knees. For this one right over here, what we want to do is Kat is going to separate her legs. When she separates her legs, this is going to put a little bit of tension on the adductor muscles. The adductors attach to the pubic symphysis, and the rectus abdominis also attaches to the pubic symphysis. So this is going to pull the pubic symphysis down, which is going to put tension on the rectus abdominis, and the superficial fibers of the pectoralis major attach to the rectus abdominis. So this is going to create more tension on the superficial fibers. From here, Kat is going to flex her knees, then she's going to dorsiflex her ankles and evert her ankles. With the arm that we are stretching, Kat's going to take her right arm, place it out to the side, and same thing, we want to bring the arm at the glenohumeral angle. So we're going to just go ahead and find the glenohumeral angle, which for Kat is right around here. Then the next thing she's going to do is go into maximum extension of the elbow and wrist. So she's going to straighten out her elbow as much as she can and point her wrist toward the ceiling. Then she's going to go into maximum external rotation as possible by bringing her arm out to the side. With her shoulders, she wants to try to pin her shoulder down toward the ground, and that's going to help to fix the shoulder blade. Then, what she's going to do is take her opposite arm, place it underneath her armpit down on the floor, just like she's getting ready to do a push-up. So just put your arm right over there. She's then going to turn away from the side she's stretching. So with her head, her right ear, she's going to pin her right ear to the floor. And then the last thing she's going to do, she's going to tuck in her chin, push her crown away from her body, and then with her left arm, she's going to gently push her arm like she's doing a push-up and roll onto her right shoulder while trying to pin her shoulder down to the ground. And this is the myofascial stretch for the superficial fibers of the pectoralis major. So again, you're spreading the legs to put tension on the adductors, flexing the knees to get a little bit more tension on the rectus abdominis, and then you are bringing your arm at the glenohumeral angle, pinning your shoulder to the floor, maximum extension of elbow and wrist, maximum external rotation. The ear of the side you're stretching is pinned to the floor, opposite hand, palm is on the floor, and then you're gonna push yourself over and roll onto your side. And that is the myofascial stretch for the pectoralis major, superficial fibers. And then the last thing that we are gonna do is the T8T9 ELDOA. This is going to be a terrific ELDOA for you to incorporate if you do have any type of postural dysfunction or any type of shoulder pain, because again, a lot of people are going to be hyperkyphotic, so this is going to help to straighten out that spine a little bit more and get you into a more natural kyphotic curve. For this one, I'm going to have Kat sit down onto the ground. And what we want to do for this one is you are going to place your feet in front of you and you want your heels at the level of your ischial tuberosities. If you recall, your ischial tuberosities are your sit bones and they're roughly the width of one fist. So if you were to place one fist in front of your feet, that is going to be the width of your ischial tuberosities. And for this one, we're going to have Kat remove her shoes. When you're doing any of these ELDOA exercises, what you want to do is barefoot, because most of your proprioceptors are going to be in the base of your foot. So any type of material that you have, it's going to throw off your proprioception a little bit. But from this position, we're going to have Kat place her heels in line with her ischial tuberosities. Then she's going to flex her hips and knees as much as she can until she notices that her spine starts to round. So you can go ahead and flex your hips and knees and keep going. As soon as you notice that the spine starts to round, that is when you are going to stop. So right around there is a good position. From here, you can just hold on to your shins. That way you're a little bit comfortable and you don't get tired out, because there's a few steps that we're going to have to get to. Your navicular bone, which is the bone on the inside near the medial arch, you want to pin that down to the ground. So imagine that you're trying to flatten the arch of your foot. So you're flattening out the medial arch. So navicular down, then the tibia, which is your shin bone, you want to externally rotate your tibia. So she's going to go into external rotation of the tibia, and then internal rotation of the femur. This one over here, it's going to be really tricky for a lot of people, but the more you practice it, the easier it's going to get. From this position, what she's going to do is maintain a nice tall spine. You're going to keep your chin tucked in. With your right arm, extend the elbow and wrist. Maximum external rotation, and then bring the arm straight up overhead. And then she's going to do the same thing with the opposite arm. So now the left hand, you're going to extend the elbow and wrist, maximum external rotation, bring the arm up overhead. You're going to keep your chin tucked in, push the crown of your head up toward the ceiling, and then with your eyes, you're going to look down between your thighs to put the dura mater under tension. And then we want to maintain all of these components for exactly 1 minute once they get into the final posture. So I'm going to cue her so she can maintain this position. So right now we're pushing the navicular down, keep those knees tucked in a little bit, perfect. Get nice and tall, don't let me touch you, don't let me touch you, bring those arms back, don't let me touch you over here, don't let me touch you, don't let me touch you, arms up, arms up, arms up. Up with the palms, keep the chin tucked in, up with the crown of the head, don't let those knees cave in, knees together, perfect. Palms up, palms up, palms up, palms up. Get nice and tall, lift up the chest, lift up the chest, lift up the chest, yeah. Knees tucked in, push those feet down. Once 1 minute has passed, then she can slowly come out of it. So one arm at a time. Take your right arm, grab a hold of your shin, left arm, grab a hold of your shin, and then relax everything. And that is the T8T9 ELDOA. Those are my top 5 exercises for shoulder pain, and in terms of the order that you can perform them in, pretty much this order that we did them in right now is the order that you would want to do them for the average person. There are going to be some exceptions. If you have somebody that has excessively tight pectoralis major muscles, they might not be able to do the segmental strengthening and reinforcement for the rhomboid major and also the inferior fibers of the trapezius. So in that case, what you would do, you could do the myofascial stretching of the pectoralis major first. That way they can get a little bit more horizontal abduction to be able to do the rhomboid major strengthening exercise. But those are the top 5 exercises, and those are how many sets you should do. In terms of the sets and repetitions, what you would do for the strengthening exercises, you would want to do 3 sets of 50 repetitions. That's 5-0, not 1-5, because we are trying to elicit a postural change, and posture is going to take a lot of repetitions and a lot of time under tension to be able to accumulate, to be able to elicit that type of a change. So that's why we're going really, really high with the repetitions. In terms of the mobilizations, you would want to do 3 repetitions at each segment of the spine until you've made it all the way to the top of the thoracic spine. And then with regard to the myofascial stretches, you would want to do 3 sets of 30 seconds on each side. But those are the top 5 exercises to help improve your shoulder pain. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.